Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Africana. This is episode 9. So I just want to thank you guys so much for tuning in so far, for liking the videos. I really see you, for subscribing to the channel. And if you've not yet subscribed, it's free. It's free. I'm even going to give you like 5 seconds right now to subscribe. It's totally free, but it helps our platform get more views, and it also helps us build a community. So please do subscribe. Now we'll jump right back to this episode. So I'm going to hand it over to Lilian to tell us a bit about herself and who she is.
Thank you. So my name is Lilian Warutere. I'm a learning experience designer. So what that means is that I actually create transformational learning experiences such that people actually are able to grow and see themselves transform when they learn something. So I'm actually the founder and program lead of a company called Redesigned Learning as well.
You've heard it from her, and I know most of you are like, what is that? What is that? And just to give a good introduction on what redesigning learning is, we'll start with the genesis of the state of education right now. So with the conservative nature of education, and that's something that we've all experienced, how are you able to foster this innovation? How are you able to, quote unquote, redesign learning, knowing that the state of education might be conservative? So how do you go about that?
Okay, cool. So I was thinking we can start off kind of like looking at it from the top. So just starting from the top, what we're seeing in the education space, so we really focus on universities, and there's a lot of things that are happening in the university space. I remember the other day there were guys from MKU, Mount Kenyan University, that were just showing how they did an exam, and things were rough, man. People are coming out and they're looking at the exam, they're like, hey, things are bad.
Yeah.
So just that experience of people having that education is really, really hard. So we put so much into it, right? But there's all these things that are happening in the education space, starting from just from the top. Universities are actually focusing on creating courses that have the most number of people. So you can see that some courses that don't have so many people interested are actually dying off.
Yeah.
So maybe if you're into carpentry, it might not be something that's a major course in many universities, mainly because there are few people, right? So that's the first level of the story.
Yeah.
Second level is that even with COVID, universities are cutting down on staff. So there's actually a private university, I think it was sometime last month, that was actually going to court to reduce the number of staff.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's serious.
It's that serious.
Oh.
So you can imagine like what's happening in Kenya right now is that we're having universities, 1, reducing the number of courses, 2, reducing the staff. So we're having this mainstream whereby guys are actually going to be choosing to do courses that are either they are really have a mass of people doing it, and if you can't actually do it, you need to find a way of learning. Either you do it as your own passion project, or you find someone who's good in the field and they're ready to start training you, and you'll actually pay for you to actually learn the skill.
Yeah.
So that's the space in Kenya per se, and it's rapidly changing, especially with COVID. We're seeing guys that right now, what's happening is that even with COVID, some guys, I was talking to guys to UN, right now they're trying to do classes, but it's not that easy because not everyone has a laptop.
Or even access to internet. Yeah.
They didn't plan for us the way they planned for primary school. Students would have laptops, and even them with laptops, those things are still in school because they don't actually show them how to use them. So there's this huge gap, and there's this shift that COVID has actually moved us to. So that's just one aspect of university in Kenya. And then now when you look at it global, what's happening outside is that even they have to shift online, maybe because of COVID. And with that, there's so many amazing things that are happening that Kenya can borrow from. Something interesting is that people are more working around online courses that are project-based.
And what does that mean though?
Nice. So what that means is that, for example, Clara, who loves creating content, who loves creating spaces where she can actually meet with people, wants to learn something about that and get to the next level. So she looks for someone who's aspirational, who's amazing in that field, not only in Kenya, but let's say somewhere outside the world, and this person, if I learn from them, they're amazing. So that person actually creates an online course, and you decide that rather than learn in Kenya, I'm going to learn from the best in the world. So when you choose that route, you design your learning to the point that when Clara is coming back to Kenya and showing people the amazing stuff, she's top of the line, and she can actually be the next person to teach everyone in Kenya how to be able to do that amazing stuff.
all the while I'm in my sitting room.
Exactly. So that's the shift that we're seeing, and we're like, Kenyans need to see that space whereby you're redesigning your learning. You're not closed to this space. With online, you can go to the best of the best in the world, learn from them, and then come and bring that home. And you don't have to go 3,000 miles, pay for accommodation, pay for, and you meet amazing people, and you see your eyes just open up, and you're like, oh my goodness, there's so much you can offer in Kenya and make home-based things just from learning from outside and bring them here.
Yeah. Wow, that's actually insightful, because I've been a student like that, because I subscribe to masterclass.
Nice.
So I've learned so much other skills like gardening, though I don't have a garden. But I've seen the courses and I watch, but I know I'm equipped because I've been able to get that exposure to the education. And then going deeper, then in this redesigned learning environment, how do you fuse the academic space, the people in the industry, the time that we are in? Because I remember you've mentioned COVID and how COVID has had a positive push towards growing the education space. How do you see it coming together? Because I ask this in the traditional sense. I'm pursuing my master's at Dista, and it was very, I would say, traditional, because it's the same system that people who've done MA communication did around, I think in the past 5 to 6 years. It's been the same system. And having that in mind, I'm also in the marketing space, or the advertising space. And every time I was going to class, the theory is beautiful, it's amazing, but there's a huge gap between what's being taught in class, what's happening at work, and the people who are actually leading the workspace. So the people who are leading the workspace are saying this, the people who are leading in academia in your space are saying this, and the time is saying this. So how are you able, or first, how do you see it coming together? And then we'll also talk about now your vision of how you're also playing a role in that.
Okay, cool. So I think just seeing that happen, I think one of the things that's interesting is that now we're seeing a shift whereby the guys who are in the workplace who actually know what's happening are looking for ways to come back into the sessions or the classes, because so for now, universities are very rigid around who should be a lecturer, right? One of the things, so I know a particular university, you can only be a lecturer if you have a PhD. That person might have the PhD, but then have the particular skills. So what we're seeing is that now that people actually see that universities are becoming so closed off, they're creating their own learning spaces. So for example, Clara, who has all this experience from her marketing spaces, who's actually going to university, can decide that, and this is one of the things we were told, one of the things I discussed with people, that Kenyans don't create products for a global market. So what if Clara decides that she wants to create something to teach people her own knowledge, and not only aiming for Kenyan people, but worldwide? And you start creating it small by small, because we become such importers of education. So for example, we'd see someone who's an amazing creator in the US and we'd actually learn from them. But the truth of the matter is that even someone in the US can actually learn from Clara. It's just that we haven't really thought about it in terms of how can we create this space whereby we become exporters of our own kind of knowledge, our knowledge that is amazing. And it's not supposed to be something that's out of this world. I mean, people listen to South African music in the US, and it's not that they made it any different. They just made it South African music, and everyone loved it. They vibed with it. So what about everything else? Can we become to the point of now bringing people who are already in the market, who are interested in teaching and know that it's a skill that they want to do, bring them in to teach, and tell them not only teach for Kenya, but teach with the mind that you want to become a global person.
Yeah, that's actually so interesting, because you can see the shift unintentionally, even on social media. I follow a very beautiful lady. She's an entrepreneur. She's called Chris Njoki, and on her platform, she actually teaches people tips about business based off her own experience. And you see, sometimes people are so focused on facts and accolades, you forget there's lessons in the journey. And I see people doing it unintentionally, because I don't think there's that foresight of I'm teaching, this is a course, that. It's just, let me share this experience in the hopes that it will help someone else, make someone else's journey easier. And I like that you've mentioned that, because then it's a call to our audience. If you do have a talent, not a talent, or even an interest in teaching, and you're an expert in a particular space, I believe that keep listening, so that even you can transform learning for the people who work around you, for your family and friends. So we keep on going. You've talked about how you see it coming together, and now I want us to talk about your role, your experience as Lilian. You know, how has your experience with education been, and how has that experience led you to redesign learning?
Okay, cool. So I think the one thing that normally is the highlight of my education, I think I remember, is university. So when I was doing my last year project, hey, that thing was stress. You know, we had one supervisor, the 10 of us, and that supervisor was scared. Then you have this problem. You first of all sort it out amongst the 10 of you. If no one knows the answer, it's either one, you're brave enough to go to her office, or you end up just saying, there's nothing. Exactly. Tembea tu na shida zako.
Yeah.
Because I remember even the day we were supposed to present, but all of us, 10 of us, next to her office, but no one is going in. She's asking, well, like, people present.
No, that's right.
Exactly.
Like, you go.
Yeah. And you know, you're also seeing dudes. You know the way you used to seeing dudes, eh? Exactly. They can enter, they can say, I'll go first. Then they're even afraid, they're just quiet, they go looking down. So I was like, that's a horrible experience of learning from someone. So I was thinking around, and maybe it wasn't that the supervisor was a horrible person. Just that this supervisor is actually teaching like 50 people. So she's teaching 50 people, supervising 30 people, and so she has no time and she's clocked out.
Also has to plan for the classes, mark exams. It's hectic.
So when you enter, she's just like, like, I'm just telling you everything, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're there. You've done a whole page. She's saying half of it tupa, the other half toa. That's the answer, and you're like, what? Yeah. Things are bad. So I asked around about people's other experiences, and there's one friend who actually told me that for him, he actually had to do one extra year. He had finished everything, but he had to go back and do an extra year just to finish uni and his project. And he went and did it to the business. He didn't even work with the supervisor, because the supervisor was really busy. He went work to the business. So he was doing environmental engineering, something of the sort. Went to the business, worked with them, and finished his project. Yeah. So for me, it was like, hey, like the one time, because in uni you're not told to do anything else. Kusoma, just read. And then the project is your one experience of doing something that can help a business. Yeah. So if that's the only experience that you have, and your internships might come in and you just go and do any kind of work that's not really meaningful to you. Yeah. It's really hard when you go to work. So for me, for example, when I was doing my first marketing job, you're psyched. Yeah. You applied, there were all these things that the job requires. You're wondering, create reports, create, a strategy. You're like, no, I know these things, I went to uni. Yeah. And then I did strategic management as a unit. Exactly. And then you come into that space whereby you're looking at the job, you've been given a goal, 1 month down the line, you're struggling. Yeah. And you're just remembering all those moments when you were failing, and you're thinking about it and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. You're stressed, you feel like an imposter. You call yourself a marketing student, and then when you're given a marketing job, you feel like, this is not where I'm meant to be. Yeah. And you start losing passion for something that you felt was the one thing for you. So when you get to that point, and it happens for so many people, just because you don't have the practice of it. When you're doing your first job, you start thinking like, even if it's maybe you do pottery and you're doing it the first time, you're doing it in a workplace, and you find out that you can't do it well, you lose passion just because you didn't have that practice. Yeah. So we came in as Redesigned Learning to actually think about how can we help people who are between the age of 18 and 27, figuring out their journey, to have an amazing experience where they're constantly trying stuff. that they actually get in practice. So that's one of the things that we actually promise our students, that we make it enjoyable, and then that we also make sure that it's market oriented. It's what businesses want for you to do.
Yeah.
So we actually started off with a marketing course because that was where my passion was in. And I would be the one to craft the experience. So that's me just thinking about how should the classes go, what do you do first, what do you do second, what platforms do you think of using, and really making it into sort of like the best thing that teachers do is that they have the process of how you can teach.
Yeah.
But the content, I actually looked for a digital marketer who's like Melanie Hapisu.
Yeah.
We were actually to actually create the content.
Yeah.
So like I pair with people who are actually interested in mentoring, in teaching, to actually come in and we create this experience whereby we've had so many students who have actually, so our last students, we told them look for a client who you can work for free, because you're starting off and you don't want to ask people for money, because when people ask for money,
his expectations.
Exactly. If you don't pay, like if you don't do your work, they'll actually trash it down. So you look for someone who you would love to sell their product and do it for free, and you know that they'll connect you to someone who will actually give you a job paid afterwards.
Yeah.
So you're looking to do free work, but with a leverage in mind. And so when you're doing this free work, you're actually learning on the go. You're telling them, this week I'm doing strategy. This is how I create my strategy. You create it, you present it to them, get feedback, and then you continue. So by the end of a 5-week course, they actually end up learning how to do it very practically.
Yeah.
So for me, my main job is how do I create that experience uniquely? So it's sort of like what you call cohort-based courses.
Yeah.
So that's the experience that we're seeing that we're creating that's very unique, because it's different from university, and we have to be very intentional with how do we craft such an experience so that the outcome is what you're looking for.
Yes, that's a different outcome. And I really value what you guys do. Also, shout out to Melanie Hapisu.
Yeah.
I know Melanie from a marketing group.
Nice.
We usually, her marketers in Nairobi, or rather marketers actually in Africa, because that group is Africa based. We have certain groups, and she's very active on the Women in Digital group. So shout out Melanie, keep doing the God's good work.
Yes.
I really value, and I'm really emotionally and mentally invested in what you do, because I want you to tell guys what you do, because we've gone round the bush, we've gone round the village, but we need to go to the headquarters of what do you do, what's the name of the business, and how can they reach you.
Okay, cool. So what we do specifically and how we do differently is that most online courses would probably do it alone, and you're doing it self-paced. So what we do differently is that we're having two components coming together. The first one is that yes, you're doing a course, but you're doing it in a community. The main reason about that is that, and we're doing it in projects as well, so 3 things. So the main reason for that is that projects make it very practical. You're doing it paced, so that you can actually be able to know, like there's people who learn faster, they go through the course like very fast as well. There are people who learn a lot slower, they take in things slowly, but they still get it really well. So you try to also maximize on that. And then there's the other aspect of not only just pace and practicality, but the aspect of community. So you learn faster in a community than you learn alone.
Yeah.
Connections are such an important process of just the workplace. So what I actually tell people is that we bring community so that you can learn faster. What you could have learned on your own or done on your own, within a community you can do with it. So let's say if it took you 3 years to do it alone, you can do it within 1 year by saying that I'm good at this, I'm going to do this. I'm not good at this, I'm going to look for someone in the community to help me with that.
Yeah.
Pair up and work a lot faster.
Yeah.
So we bring those two aspects together. So our training would actually be for 8 weeks, but you have a 1-year community where you're continuously learning, getting projects that you can outsource from different people, so that you can continue learning, build your portfolio.
Yeah.
So that for anyone who's 18 or 19 or 20 just starting off, they can actually build their portfolio. They live in university, they have so much to actually show for their practice.
Yeah.
They've explored so many things. If you wanted to do video creation, designing, we actually want to grow such that we're not only focusing on marketing itself, but different types of content creation skills, so that people can actually explore as much as possible.
Yeah.
So that's what we do. You can find us on Twitter, on Instagram as well as Redesigned Learning. And then you can actually find a link to our course that's always open, and we'll actually be sharing you the date for the next cohort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll link all that on the description box, and also as she's talking, I'll put some snippets so that you don't forget how to write Redesign. There's something important you said that I want us to close this conversation with, and you talked about a community. Guys, I cannot stress the importance of a network. And a lot of people, you know how people say in Kenya you have to have connections. I think in life, if you're ever going to go beyond, if you're going to achieve your dreams, and you know dreams are, it's not something you're seeing there, I can get here this way, otherwise they wouldn't be called dreams, it would be a roadmap. But those dreams you have, to achieve them, you need connections. Let no one lie to you that, you know, brilliance will get you. That brilliance needs to be connected to something, you know. You need people to actualize your dream. And what she's saying is about the community and a whole year of support. I've not experienced the year because I didn't come in as a student, but I came in as a speaker in your series.
Yeah.
Do you know that video gave me 3 clients?
Ooh,
3.
amazing.
2 from YouTube,
Yeah.
and 1 from your class.
Nice.
She was writing a book and she wants to sell the book.
Yeah.
2 from YouTube saw the video, and they contacted me through my page, my Instagram page.
Awesome.
So that's how you grow, you know. So when you join these communities and you're learning and you're expanding your insight, also remember that there's value in the people you're learning with. There's value in your teachers, there's value in your colleagues. Just get to know these people and get to nurture these relationships, because that's the next staircase. So I just thought to add that to give my experience so that guys are not just thinking, okay, 1 year about, guys, it's real. It's very real. And you find that when you do take that step to invest in yourself, you unajilipa, like you invest in yourself and your being sees how much you've done for this, it gives it back 10 times fold. So I would just encourage you guys to keep investing in yourself, keep watching videos like this, and if you do have an idea of a business, of a venture, you don't have to have the roadmap. You have the idea, start. Then use platforms that help you upskill. Use your friends, and I'll give you an example. The guys who are shooting these videos, they are my friends. The people who you see as guests are people I've met. Some are acquaintances, some are friends. So that's how you grow. And I would just like to encourage you to follow Redesign on Instagram. I'll link their website. It doesn't even have to be you. You have a smaller sister, a relative, or a colleague who's willing to learn some marketing skills. I know, so far I know the marketing. Do you have another?
So right now we're focusing mainly on marketing, specifically content marketing.
Okay.
So that's what we normally do.
Yeah. So check it out, guys. See you on the next episode of Africana. We'll have a part 2, so please tune in. Bye.